Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the PRAGNAVARIDHI series. And I would like to introduce our team, Panchajanya, the divine conch of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, which was blown during Kurukshetra, indicating the start of Dharma Yuddha that followed. There, all the efforts were done for the establishment of Dharma. Dharma was kept over personal relations and motives. Keeping the same motive in our mind, our organization will work towards establishing the importance and necessity of following and imbibing Bharatiya culture, accepting our roots, and making people realize the true essence of Ayurveda, not only as the treatment modality but as also as a way of life. All these walking in the path of Dharma, hence the motto Shreyam Bharatiyam Arogyam Ayurvediyam. With this aim in my mind, I would like to welcome you all to the Pragnavaridhi lecture series conducted for second year BMS students. Today we have Vaidya Divya BS ma'am who will do a lecture on karma. Now, ma'am will be handing over the session, and I would like to introduce ma'am to this session. Ma'am is currently working as associate professor in Department of Dravya Guna in SDM Bangalore. Ma'am has done BMS from SDM Udupi, and ma'am has done MD in Ayurveda Dravya Guna from Government Ayurvedic Medical College Bengaluru. And ma'am is pursuing PhD from Government Ayurvedic Medical College Bengaluru. And ma'am has done dissertation work on Staulyahara, karma of Ela Bija and Bilva Patra with respect to dyslipidemia comparative experimental study. We welcome you, ma'am. Now I'm handing over the session to ma'am. Ma'am, you can please continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the PPT is visible, right? Okay. So today I'll be dealing with the concept of karma. So in the new NCASM syllabus, the following points were given importance: the karma lakshana, karma swarupa, karma beda, and you have to know the explanation of each of the following karma with their examples. So Deepana, Pachana, Samshodhana, Samshamana, Anulomana, Sramsana, Bhedana, Rechana, Chedana, Lekana, Grahi, Stambhana, Madakari, Pramati, Abhishandi, etc. So these are the 20 karmas that are quoted in your syllabus, and you should know in detail explanation of these karmas with their examples. So coming to the karma nirukti, kriyate iti karma. The word karma is derived from the root word kri, which means to do. That which performs the action of a drug or that which is carried out is called karma. The word karma here refers to the action which is the outcome of a process kriya. So for example, to quote, Stanya Janana is the karma of Shatavari, galactogog. Jwarahara is the karma of Guduchi. Amapachana is the karma of Ajamoda. Then coming to the proper definition of karma has quoted in Charaka Sutra, Samyoge cha vibhage cha karanam dravyamashritam. Kartavyasya kriya karma karma na anyad apekshate. So it has Samyoge cha vibhage cha karanam, the entity which is responsible for combination and separation. That is, it becomes the karana or the reason for samyoga and vibhaga. Then he says dravyamashritam. It should reside in the dravya and has no existence without dravya. And then he says kartavyasya kriya karma, the entity performing a specific action that is attributed to karma. And lastly he says karma na anyad apekshate. It does not require any other factor for its action. So these are the four important points that are quoted in the definition of karma. Samyoge cha vibhage cha karanam, dravyamashritam, kartavyasya kriya karma, and karma na anyad apekshate. Then coming to the various synonyms of karma that is quoted, pravartistu kalu cheshta karyartha sa eva kriya karma yatnaha karya samarambhascha. So these are the various synonyms: karya, kriya, or karma, or yatna, karya samarambha. These are the various synonyms that are quoted in the text. The nature of karma. Kriya lakshanam karma. Kriya, that is performance itself, is a characteristic feature of a karma. Carrying out an action is the nature of the karma. For example, pittahara or pitta shamana is a karma of amalaki, or kartyavasya kriya karma, an action taken to achieve a definite aim is karma. For example, brahmana leading to the increase in the muscle bulk is a because of the administration of draksha, karjura. And the next part you have to know is karma bheda, that is the types of karma. So if you see in the various texts, the classification of karma is found and it is scattered. First, according to Vaisheshika Darshana, he says the karmas are classified as utkshepana, apakshepana, akunchana, prasarana, gamana, etc. Second, according to the mentioned in Charaka Sutra, karma panchavida muktam vamanadi. Vamana, virechana, nasya, anuvasanavasti and astapanavasti. Then based on its therapeutic action, Shadupakrama has been described, that is Langhana Brahmana, Rukshana Snehana, Svedana Stambhana. Then the types of karma based on their site of action. Sthanika karma and Sarvadaihika karma. Sthanika karma, you can mention it as local action. The medication is applied externally and the action you can see locally. Whereas in a case of Sarvadaihika karma, there will be a generalized or systemic action. The medication is administered internally and the action is shown generally on the body. Then you can quote it as Sarvadaihika karma. Then coming to the next classification of karma, which is mentioned in Charaka Sutra, 4th chapter, Shad Virechana Shatashritiya Madhyayam, wherein Charaka says there are 50 Mahakashayas, and these 50 Mahakashayas are classified, mainly based on their karma. It starts from Jivaniya, Brahmaniya and continues, and the last one is Tapakagana, Vayastapana Mahakashaya. And all these 50 Mahakashayas are mentioned based on their karma. So this is a karmatmaka classification of Charaka. Next, classification based on their effect on dosha, dhatu, mala, shrotas. You have on dosha vata prakopaka, vata shamaka, pitta prakopaka, pitta shamaka, kapha prakopaka and kapha shamaka. On the dhatus, you have dhatu vriddhikara and dhatu kshayakara. On the effect on mala, purisha or mala vriddhikara and mala hara. And on the shrotas, pranavaha shrotohara, udakavaha shrotohara, etc. And then their effect on specific vyadhi, it is seen that jwarahara, kasahara, krimigna, shwasahara, etc. All these are the classification of karma based on their effect on vyadhi. So these are the different types of or different classifications of karma which has been mentioned in the text. So then coming to the proper, so for each karma you have to know the detailed description of mentioned by Sharangadhara and also the opinion of few other important authors. So the first karma that is mentioned in the syllabus is Deepana. So the definition of Deepana that is mentioned in Sharangadhara Samhita. Pachet na amam vannikritcha deepanam tadhyatha mishihi. That is, he says, Pachet na amam. It does not digest the ama. Ama here refers to, the commentator says, ama refers to apakwa annarasa. Then what it exactly does? The Deepana Dravyas, they vannikrit, they ignite the vanni or they increase the agni. And he gives a specific example, that is mishi. Mishi is a synonym and the basonym is Shatapushpa, Anathamsova of Apiaceae family. So the important definition you have to remember for Deepana is Pachet na amam Vannikricha Deepanam Tadhyata Mishihi. So this is Anathamsova or Shatapushpa, Apiaceae member. The definition given by Gangadhara, Deepaniyam Vanniruddheepanaya Hitam. Deepaniya Dravya will stimulate or enhance or increase the Agni. Deepanam Antaragnehe Sandukshanam Tasmai Hitam Deepaniyam. Yogaratnakara says the Dravya which enhances the Agni without performing the Amapachana is called Deepana. These are the various synonyms of Deepana found in the text. Deepaniya, Deepanam, Agni Deepanam, Agni Sandukshanam, Agni Pushtida, Agnida, etc. Panchabhautika Sanghatana of these Vayu and Agni Mahabhuta, whereas the element of Vayu is more in Deepana Dravyas. Deepana Dravya Gunakarma, Katukamla Lavanan, Rasan, Tikshna, Ushna, Laghun, Gunaschashritam, Tadagnimeva Nirvartyam. Katu, Amla and Lavana. Guna is Tikshna, Ushna and Laghu, whereas Rasa Vaisheshikakara says it is Agni Guna Bhuishtam. Charaka has mentioned Deepaniya Mahakashaya. So the 10 dravyas that are mentioned in Deepaniya Mahakashaya are Pipali, Pipali Mula, Chavya, Chitraka, Shrungavera, Amlavetasa, Maricha, Ajamoda, Bhallatakasti, Hingu Niryasa, Iti Dashemani, Deepaniyani Bhavanti. So each Mahakashaya have 10 drugs. And these are the 10 drugs of Deepaniya Mahakashaya. Pipali, Piper longum, Piperacea. Pipali Mula, you have roots of Piper longum, Piperacea family. Chavya, Piper Chaba. So the Mula of Piper Chaba is taken as Chavya, whereas the fruit of Piper Chaba is specifically considered as Gajapipali. So the fruits of Piper Chaba will be comparatively bigger in size when compared to the fruits of Pipali. Then you have Chitraka Mula, Plumbago Xylanica, Plumbaginaceae, Shrungavera or Shunti, Gingiber officinale, Gingiberaceae family where rhizome is a useful part. Then you have Amlavetasa, Garcinia pedunculata of Clusiaceae family, Maricha, Piper nigrum, Piperaceae, Ajamoda, Apium graveolens, Apiaceae family. Then next drug is Bhallataka Asti, that is the semicarpus anacardium of Anacardiaceae family, and the last drug is Hingo Niryasa. The Niryasa is a Prayogyanga, Ferula nordex, Apiaceae family. So these are the 10 drugs that are enumerated in Charaka Sutra 4th chapter under the heading Deepaniya Mahakashaya. Similarly, in the case of Shushruta Samhita, while discussing about various ganas, he mentions following 5 ganas, they perform Deepana Karma. They are Pipalyadi and the Mishraka Varga Trikatu, Amalakyadi, Bilvadi, Guduchyadi. So these 5 Gana Dravyas, they perform Deepana Karma. Bhava Prakasha raises the question that why a particular dravya which stimulates the Agni cannot perform Amapachana. So he raises the question himself and again he gives an answer. He says Deepana Dravya increases the Agni to an extent that it only stimulates the Agni, hence incapable of Amapachana. For this again he gives a simile. He says just like a small lamp imparts light but cannot cook a pot full of rice. Similarly, the Deepana Dravya can only ignite the Agni to an extent, only to a limited extent, so that it cannot perform the next stage, that is Amapachana. So just like a small lamp imparts light but it cannot cook a pot full of rice, similarly the Deepana Dravya cannot perform the Amapachana. Further, Ashtanga Hridaya Kara says, Deepanam hi agnim kritva amam kadachit pachayennava. Some of the Deepana Dravya cause Amapachana also. This may be the reason for not mentioning Pachaniya Mahakashaya in Charaka. So he explains and says that the Deepana Dravya and Pachana Dravya, they are combined together, they are clubbed together, and under the one main heading Deepaniya Mahakashaya, both the Dravyas have been explained. And he gives the example as Grita. So he says there is no any Dravya in the universe which has only Deepana Karma. So both these go hand in hand. This is the opinion of Ashtanga Hridayakara. So the modern view, it is appetizers or stomachic drugs. These are the drugs which stimulate the appetite, and it can be through the stimulation of taste buds. Then coming to the next karma is Pachana. Pachyate anena iti Pachanam. The one by which Pachana occurs is called Pachana. The synonyms that are mentioned are Jarana, Jaranam, Jaraniyam. The important definition of Pachana that is given by Sharangadara, he says, Pachatyamam navannim cha kuryat yat tadhi Pachanam Nagakesharavat vidyat chitrodipana Pachana. It digests the ama but does not kindle the Agni. The one which does ama Pachana without increasing the Agni is called Pachana. And he gives an example as Nagakeshara. For Pachana, he gives the example as Nagakeshara. So the important definition which everyone should know regarding the Pachana is Pachati Amam. Navannim cha kuryat yat tadhi Pachanam. Nagakesharavat vidyat chitro deepana Pachana. Further, he says, Pachato agnehe paktum shakti adhikam yat utpadayati tadravyam kriya va pachanamuchyate yatha langhana mustadiva. Arunadatta says that a dravya or a kriya which strengthens the agni and by that digests the ama is called Pachana. And he gives an example for, he says it may be either kriya or a dravya. For kriya, he says langhana is the best example for Pachana, and dravya, he says musta. Musta is Cyprus rotundus, Cyperaceae family, and rhizomes are the main useful part of musta. So this is the Nagakeshara, Messua feria. So again, Keshara is a main useful part, Clusiaceae family. And this is, further he says at the end of the shloka, he says, Chitro Deepana Pachanaha, Shweta Chitraka, Plumbago, Xylanica, Plumbaginaceae family, Rakta Chitraka, Plumbago, Rosea, Plumbaginaceae family, and this is Neela Chitraka, Plumbago, Capensis, Plumbaginaceae family. So in the so he says the Dravya Nagakeshara, which does only Pachana, whereas Chitraka does both Deepana and Pachana. So Chitro Ubhayakaro Bhavati. It performs both the action, a combined action, Deepana as well as Pachana. So Chitraka is considered as a reputed drug which has a very good Deepana and Pachana karma. Shushruta mentions following Gana has having Pachana karma: Pipalyadi, Dashamula, then Vachadi, Haridradi, and Mustadi Gana, which performs Pachana karma. The Panchabhautika Sangatana, Shushruta says it is again Vayu and Agni Mahabhuta dominant, but the Pachana Dravyas have Agni element is more. Then coming to the Guna karma of Pachana Dravyas, usually the Pachana Dravya, they have Katutikta, Kashaya and Amlarasa. Guna is Ushna and Ruksha, Ushna Virya, and they are mainly indicated in the case of Amajirna, Agni-Mandya conditions. And the modern correlation is digestants, a substance that promote or aid in digestion. Examples of digestants include hydrochloric acid, enzymes that promote digestions, Digestins aren't absorbed, they act locally in the GI tract and are excreted in the stool. These drugs contain trypsin to digest the protein, amylase to digest the carbohydrates, and lipase to digest the fat. It is understood that the Deepana and Pachana are the same karma in the process of digestion but exhibit or perform their functions at different stages. In the beginning, the Deepana action will be there, later, the Pachana action take place. In Deepana process, the stage of Agni is less powerful, which is not sufficient to perform or function as Pachana karma. Whereas in Pachana karma, the state of Agni is more powerful and function as Pachana. According to Panchabhautika dominance, both are of Agni and Vayu Mahabhuta dominant. The element of Vayu is more in Deepana Dravya, whereas the element of Agni is more in Pachana Dravya. This is the view of Shushruta. The Deepana Dravya does the function of increasing the digestive secretion, whereas the Pachana Dravya has the capacity to digest the food substance. Then coming to the difference between Deepana, Pachana. So Deepana is Agni Deepana, whereas Pachana refers to Ama Pachana. Deepana Dravya, it has Agni and Vayu Mahabhuta, whereas mainly Vayu Mahabhuta element is dominant. In the Pachana also you have Agni and Vayu Mahabhuta dominant, whereas mainly Agni element is more. Agni Deepana is the first stage and Pachana is possible only after the Deepana. So both these Deepana and Pachana, they go hand in hand and you cannot see any Dravya which is solely Deepana as such. So this is about the Deepana and Pachana. So like this, there are many other karmas that are quoted in the syllabus. So you have around 20 different karma wherein in the same format you should know the other description. For example, the main title which you have to cover are the lakshana, that is a definition. Mainly for all the remaining karmas, you have to prepare accordingly. First point you should know is a lakshana or definition of various karma. Then paryayas, if anything that is found. Then panchabhautika sangatana, deepani or the dravya karma, dravyas guna karma. And if it is mentioned in the Mahakashayas, then the view of Mahakashaya list, dravyas, and the modern view. And last, any possible, you have to differentiate between the karmas. For example, grahi, stambana, or you can differentiate between anulomana and sramsana, or bhedana and rechana. So these are the format wherein you should know about the other karmas also. Definition, you have to by heart the definition of Sharangadara. So Sharangadarokta definition with examples is important. Paryaya, Panchabhautika Sangatana, Deepana Dravya or the Mahakashayas if stated, and the modern view of that particular karma. So in the syllabus you have 20 different karmas that are quoted one by one, and detailedly you should know the other karmas. So today we have discussed about, in detail we have discussed about Deepana and Pachana, and the next karma Samshodhana and Samshamana. So for Samshodhana, the example that is quoted by Sharangadara is Devadali Phalam. For Samshamana he says Amrita. Amrita is Guduchi. Guduchi Samshamani eva prasiddha. For Anulomana, Sharangadara quotes the example as Haritaki. For Sramsana, he says it is Kritamalakaha or Aragvada. For Bhedana, the example quoted is Katuki. For Rechana, the example quoted is Trivrit. So these four, Anulomana, Sramsana, Bhedana and Rechana, they are the four different types of the Rechana karma proper. So these are the four different very gradient types of rechana. So again, you have to know in detail about all these karmas. So these are the Anulomana, Sramsana, Bhedana, and Rechana. These are the 4 types of Rechana according to Sharangadhara, whereas Charaka says there are 3 types of Rechana, and these 3 types of Rechana are Sukha Virechana. Secondly, you have Mrudu Virechana and Tikshna Virechana. He says, Trivrit Sukha Virechananam Shreshtaha. Chaturangula is Aragvada. Chaturangulo Mrudu Virechananam Shreshtaha. And thirdly, he says, Snukpayaha Tikshna Virechananam Shreshtaha. That is, Snuhi Kshira is Tikshna Virechaka Shreshta Dravyas. So you have to discuss and you have to prepare in detailed description of these. And the next karma you have Chedana and Lekana, Grahi and Stambana. So what is exactly Grahi and what is exactly Stambana? Then you have Madakari, Pramathi, Abhishyandi, Vevai, Vikasi. Again, they are 2 very important karmas, and also it is mentioned as Guna. Then Rasayana. So in the Rasayana, you can by heart the definition of Sharangadhara as well as the benefits of Rasayana that is mentioned in Charaka. Then you have Vajikarana, and 20th one is Medhya. For Medhya, Sharangadhara has not given any definition. The commentator says Medaya Hitam Medhyam. And for Medhya you have to remember the Medhya Rasayana Dravyas. There are 4 Medhya Rasayana Dravyas that are explained in Charaka Chikisa Sana, first chapter, wherein he says the 4 different Medhya Rasayanas are Manduka Parnyaha Swarasaha Prayojyaha. Second, he gives the example as Guduchi Swarasaha, then Eshti Madhu Churna Kshirena, and then 4th one is Shanka Pushpi Samula Pushpakalkaha. And further he says, at the last part he says, among all these 4 Medhya Rasayana Dravyas, Shanka Pushpi is regarded as Shreshta Medhya Rasayana. So for the concept of Medhya, you can just remember the definition given by commentator Medaya Hitam Medhyam, and again the 4 Medhya Rasayana. There is more weightage for karma in your syllabus. So just how we have discussed in detail about the Deepana karma, similarly for the remaining karmas, you have to prepare accordingly and remember the definition of that specific karma, Paryaya, Panchabhautika, Guna karma, and if it is mentioned any Mahakashayas, then other. And last part, you have to know the modern view. Modern view, just the pharmacological action which can be correlated, and 1 or 2 sentences regarding that. So there is more weightage for karma chapter in your syllabus, and all that is very very important shloka. And even this Sharangadhara's definition, it finds utility later on also. So you have to study in deep about the Sharangadhara Samhita. It is mentioned in 4th chapter, Deepana Pachana Adhyaya. You can go in detail about that. And again, the commentator also has given a beautiful description for that. So with this, I conclude my session. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our request and conducting the lecture in your busy schedule. We wholeheartedly thank you, ma'am. With this, we sign off this lecture. Thank you, everyone.